How's it going, folks? Mark from Like-Minded Lunatics, and we're coming at you with the last episode of The Adventures of Heroman. I'm here with Todd, Wright, and with Ricky, and we are going to talk about this episode after the episode airs. We want to get right into it, though. Todd, Ricky, anything to add before we immediately jump into it?
Just enjoy, and this is a headphones one if you got kids.
A lot of fun. Be ready for fun.
Awesome. All right, everybody, stay tuned after the episode. We'll have a quick discussion, but right now, enjoy the Adventures of the Adventures of Heroman, Episode 4: Too Many Supermen.
Nice.
It's the thrilling adventures of Heroman. Huddle up around your radios with your Ovaltine, kids. It's time for the exciting conclusion of our tale. When we left Heroman, he was taking to the skies once again with his mentor, Betterman. Their goal? To stop the boomerang before he can swing back into his old ways as a dastardly evildoer. Back in their stakeout positions, Betterman gives Heroman an update.
All right, he should be home any minute. You remember all those chemicals he was bringing home with him? Well, he's still doing that. Stockpiling for something.
Any idea what his plan is?
I followed him on several occasions to some schools in the area.
Oh, God, no. Schools?
Yeah, he's been regularly sneaking around 3 elementary schools. I think he's planning a synchronized explosion.
Oh, my God. So what's our play here, man? Interrogation when he gets home? Get him to confess and turn him in?
You can do all the interrogation you want. I'm gonna put a boot up his ass.
Good scouting. Wow, we may be able to save thousands of lives today.
Just then, the boomerang pulls into the parking lot, carrying with him even more dangerous chemicals. Our heroes hold their locations until Boomerang gets his key in the door, and then, bam pow, they emerge, crashing into the perpetrator, pushing the door open and throwing the baddie onto the bed inside.
Close that door, Hero Man. We're gonna need some privacy.
No problem.
What the hell are you doing here?
Shut your goddamn mouth, Boom. We're on to you.
Look at all this stuff. I can't even pronounce the words on half of these labels.
Be careful with those chemicals, Heroman. If you breathe them in, they could kill you.
I can't believe they let you out after all you've done. How'd you convince them? How'd you make them think you were rehabilitated?
Before Boomerang can respond, Betterman grabs him around the neck and lifts him into the air.
I'm gonna enjoy this.
I can't breathe.
Betterman quickly delivers a crack to the jaw of Boomerang, causing him to slink to the floor. Betterman quickly scoops him up again.
We know you're villaining, Boom. Just admit it.
I'm not. I'm reformed.
Ah, shut up.
It's gonna take more than that to convince a judge, especially after he sees the stockpile you have here.
It's not what it looks like. I clean pools.
Another blow punishes the offender for his wicked ways.
Yeah, and I own a bakery. That's cute, Boom.
Just then, an unexpected knock on the door. What's going on?
2 guys just broke into Mick's and it sounds like they're beating the shit out of them.
Oh, God, that's terrible. Call the police. Mick, we're calling the police.
We're calling the cops, Mick. Shit, we gotta get out of here. If they catch us in here, all 3 of us are gonna go to jail.
I'm not usually one to tuck my tail and run, but you got a good point. Plus, I'm gonna want some time on this guy.
Come on, man, let's take him back to my place. We'll have privacy there.
No. No!
After a quick flight to Hero Man's home, the 3 find themselves in a much more controlled interrogation.
All right, he's tied to the chair. All right, now, Boomerang, I don't know what you've got planned exactly, but whatever it is, they're going to catch you. And trust me, they're not going to be so lenient this time. I'm telling you, the courts have been hard on me, and I'm a hero. Now just be honest. What are you doing with all these chemicals?
I clean pools with them. I don't know how else to say it.
Look, you think we're playing around with you? This is not a game.
That's right, scumbag. Playtime's over. Hey, Hero Man, why don't you let me take this? I'll interrogate this piece of shit. You can get some shut-eye.
You sure, man? I don't want to leave you alone with Boomerang.
Absolutely, Slick. It's gonna take a while to crack this nut. I'll take the first shift and you can relieve me in a few hours.
All right. Thanks, Betterman.
Heroman leaves the malevolent Boomerang in the capable hands of his trusted mentor and closest compatriot, Betterman. Heroman collapses into his bed and falls into a deep slumber. Even the most magnificent of superheroes has to sleep, kids. But fear not! In the blink of an eye, Heroman has his fill of the brief repose, and after a few quick calls on his cell phone, Heroman returns to relieve Betterman.
Hey, Garrett, I was on the phone with Southside Elementary, and they said that Boomerang is actually on their payroll. So I'm not so sure if he...
As Heroman turns the corner into his living room, he sees Betterman scuffling with Boomerang. Heroman wastes no time in leaping to his friend's defense.
Oh my God. Garrett, what have you done?
What's that, kid? Couldn't hear you over the noise this piece of shit's been making.
Oh my God, is he dead?
Dead? No, boy, he ain't dead. Can't you hear his pathetic wheezing? No, he ain't gonna die anytime soon. I was taught lynchy with the best of them. I got his extremities tied off. There's a lot of blood, I'll grant you, but them tourniquets are making sure he feels every goddamn cut without bleeding out and dying.
Heroman, help me, please, Heroman.
How many times did you cut him? Jesus, he's fucking covered in blood. I think I'm gonna be sick.
You always had a weak stomach, boy. I'm on cut 67. I'm starting to carve into some of the nerves and ligaments now. You want to give it a go?
Jesus Christ, stop it, Garrett. I don't even think Boomerang's guilty.
Not guilty. I haven't done anything wrong. Done nothing. Served my time.
What do you mean, not guilty?
I called Southside. He's on their payroll. He services the pools on their campuses. Garrett, let him go.
Oh, shit, son. Even if he wasn't doing something when we caught him, this piece of garbage is a born criminal. Here, take this knife and have a go. Just cut below the tourniquet into his forearm.
No.
Garrett, no. We're letting him go. We're letting him go, and you and me, we're getting out of here.
Letting him go? What the fuck are you talking about? I ain't leaving my city, and we ain't letting nothing go, Chief.
Then I'm letting him go, with or without your help. Now put that knife down and step the fuck away from Boomerang, Garrett.
You want to do this, mijo?
No, I don't. But I'm going to. Now move, or I'll move you myself.
The air crackles with energy as Heroman faces off with his teacher, mentor, and friend. Woe is the day when two friends become cross, and today is the most woeful of all days. Heroman and Betterman collide with a force so powerful that Boomerang is rendered unconscious, and thus sparing him from Betterman's righteous justice. When the dust settles, Heroman stands over his fallen comrade.
So, what are you gonna do now, kid?
I'm gonna turn you into the authorities. You're out of control.
I expect talk like this from almost anyone these days, kid. But not from you. We are the authority, Heroman.
Authority? What do you mean, man? They're not gonna let us just do whatever the hell we want. I mean, and they're right. Look at us. We're torturing an innocent and reformed man in my goddamn apartment.
You turn on me now, son, and there's no going back. You better know that. Your mother'd be ashamed of you. After all I've done for you, when both of you were down and out...
Don't you fucking talk about my mother.
Heroman turns his attention away from the palatial Betterman to concentrate on the criminal bound and bleeding in his kitchen. Betterman, sensing his protege's wavering attention, decides to make an exit. As Betterman silently strides out the door, Heroman takes a moment to address his friend one final time.
I don't want to see your face around here ever again, Betterman. You and I are finished. Done. And if you do turn up...
Don't you worry your heroic little head about me. We'll catch up on down the road. I guarantee it. Take her easy, amigo.
Heroman quickly begins attending to the baleful Boomerang when he's suddenly interrupted by the cardinal criminal himself, the Red Ruin.
Daniel! Daniel, are you here? Amy asked me to come pick up some of Timmy's things. Some baseball accoutrements, I'm to understand. Hello? Daniel!
As the Red Ruin rounds the corner out of Heroman's foyer, he sees the villainous Boomerang sitting before the majestic Heroman. Momentarily struck dumb by the sight before him, the Red Ruin finally finds his voice and wrangles up the courage to speak.
By the lasers of Andromedon, Daniel, what have you done? Jesus, Terry, you think I did this? It was Garrett. Garrett did this sick shit. I found Boomerang like this, and then Garrett attacked me. He's gone totally crazy. Oh, Daniel, there's no coming back from this. You'll be blamed. You know that, don't you? I know that. You think I don't know that? But fuck, I can't even think about that right now, Terry. Right now, we gotta get Boomerang to the hospital. He's cut up pretty bad. And he's lost a lot of blood, but Garrett knew what he was doing. He's still alive. I think we can save him. Was there an earth-shaking battle, Daniel? Some kind of grand melee between Garrett and Michael? No. No battle. Here, help me untie him. No fight. No nothing. Garrett's a psychopath, Terry. He lied to me about Boomerang. I think he just wanted to torture someone. Here, hold his head for me. Oh, Daniel, he's very pale. I don't think we'll make it in time. Have you phoned for an ambulance? No, there's no time, Terry. They'll never make it. Boomerang will bleed out first. Then how do you plan to save him, Daniel? Neither one of us are trained medical professionals. I'm gonna fly him there. I can get him to the downtown Providence ER in less than 30 seconds if I go supersonic. Daniel, no! You can't so flagrantly ignore the conditions of your probation. They'll strip your powers away for sure, make you mortal and imprison you. Here, give me that shirt. No, the one on the sofa. Yeah, that one. Bring it here. Look, I don't care, Terry. I really don't care. Boomerang is not dying because of me. He is not. I'll shred space-time before I let this man die for my mistakes.
Heroman walks toward the door, carrying the lifeless but still breathing Boomerang over his shoulder. The Red Ruin, in a move so presumptuous that it borders on audacious, grabs Heroman's arm to stop him.
But Daniel, think of Timmy. Think of little man. He needs his father. You've got it covered, Terry. You'll do fine. You're already a better dad to Timmy than I ever was. Take care of him for me, Terry.
And with that, Heroman shakes the Red Ruin from his arm and takes to the sky like a shot.
Fly fast and true, my friend. You can save him, Heroman. You can save him.
Don't worry, little heroes. Heroman does indeed make it in time to save Boomerang. It would have been difficult for some, but Heroman makes the call and delivers. Once in the custody of the intensive care unit, Boomerang receives the care he needs. But all is not well, Heroman admirers. For the next morning, Heroman is called into his parole officer's office once again. This can only mean trouble.
Daniel, I don't have the patience to go over all of this with you. You know why you're here. I don't want to hear a lot of talk about you didn't do anything. You know you used your powers last night. I know you used your powers last night. The surveillance cameras at Our Lady of the Virgin Birth know you used your powers last night.
You're checking hospital cameras on me now?
It was a tip. I got a call early this morning.
From who? Boomerang? Why would he even do that?
It wasn't Boomerang. He's not even speaking yet.
Frank, I saved a man's life. I did. I flew him in because there was nothing else I could do. I couldn't watch him die. I have the power to help people. I can't turn that off because someone says that I'm not supposed to.
Maybe you can't turn it off. Maybe you can't. And maybe that's where people like me have to step in.
Whoa, wait a minute. What are you talking about, Frank?
I'm talking about exactly what you just said. You can't turn it off. Daniel, you and your friends have been running things for a long time. And in the last few years, Congress has decided that it's not in the best interest of the people. You can't go around doing whatever you want. No one should be above the law. And as far as the law is concerned, there is no difference between hero and villain when it comes to stepping over certain boundaries.
You know what? What are you going to do, Frank? I can't even believe this is happening. After everything that happened before, people told me you were just bent on stripping superheroes. You know what? Now I see it.
Watch it. You don't know the first thing about it.
Then tell me, why are you so upset about me saving someone? Why do you fucking hate me so much, Frank?
Daniel, I don't hate you. And in a different position, of course I would say you did the right thing last night. Some would even see your efforts to save a former villain as heroic. But I've seen too many like you. Too many Supermen who have made the decision that they know what's best for us.
It's not that. It's just that
you see us failing and you want to fix it. I know. I have kids. I have dogs. I know what it's like to watch something flail and need help. And I know the feeling of pride in helping them. But we're not children, Hero Man, and we're not dogs. We're men and women who have our own decisions to make. And if you can't help yourself from going beyond the law, then we'll have to step in.
Whoa, Frank, slow down.
Daniel Craig Johnston, for multiple unregistered instances of using your powers while on parole, for refusing to make serious efforts towards rehabilitation, and for having no respect for this process, you leave me no choice. Later today, I will be required to report back to the courts that you are unfit to be reinstated.
Frank, please don't do this.
I'm not going to recommend you for termination, but I am going to tell them that you should be stripped. And Hero Man, given the law, I don't think this is going to be a very difficult case to consider.
The air has been sucked out of the room as our hero learns of his most certain doom. Will Hero Man survive this legislative onslaught? Fear not, Heraclites. Though this chapter in Hero Man's story ends today, another will come to pass in the near future. Stay tuned to your radios like a hawk closely watches a field mouse. Hero Man will return.
I mean, that's the end. That's it. If you're new to the Adventures of Hero Man, this is the last part we have completed. It's been 5 years since, and we've been talking about getting what we're calling season 2 going and throwing around ideas. But this is all you're going to get from Hero Man for a while. And boy, it drops on a cliffhanger. Guys, just quick initial reactions. Like, I don't know if you listened to episode 4 lately.
Well, I did when I recut it, and it surprised me again how dark it gets. It just, I mean, we wrote it, Todd, but I'm still just shocked. This takes a really dark turn.
Yeah, no, I know.
I just listened to it the other day, and I can remember when you guys first sent me the raw recordings for me to start scoring, and I thought, God dang, man, what's going on here? And then seeing the drawings with the knife and everything, it was like, man, it got crazy. And I never expected it to get that dark. But
we had a friend, a colleague from UTSA, email Mark and say, "Do you guys really know how serious Lin Chi is?" Like he was afraid that we'd sort of gone too dark. And it's
he emails me and he's like, "Do you realize the end of this episode includes torture?" Yeah, we do. We wrote it. I do understand.
We wrote it and voice acted the torture. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Lin Chi is torture. I understand that.
Yeah. So, Mark, one of the things that stands out to me in episode 4 is that the voiceover and his grand sort of way of discussing the events of these characters is dated and feels very much like a 40s radio show. But is slightly different. His reaction is slightly different than what the audience might be experiencing. And we get that early on when an audience starts to see that the Red Ruin is not quite as evil or bad as he might be labeled. But the narrator or the voiceover doesn't seem to be seeing that. He continues to call him, this vile villain. But I think that the audience's reaction to the events and the VO's reaction to the events have never been starker in difference.
Right.
That big final fight between Hero Man and Betterman. And the example that jumps out to me is when the VO says, "Woe is the day," talking about these friends fighting, and yet an audience member must be thinking, Betterman is a madman at this point. So, as you were putting together these scenes and writing the voiceover over the course of the series, I don't know, what kind of interests you about the VO and the disparity between the audience's experience and his?
Well, I think, at least in my memory, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, when we first started writing it, it was more about just having fun with the juxtaposition between the action that was happening and what the VO thought was happening. So that was just a running gag that we thought was really funny. But then as the writing kind of progressed and we started to learn more about these characters as we wrote them, the VO really started to become kind of a whitewashing element. Kind of like, we talked about it before, the colonialism thing where you have the hegemony writing the narrative of other people. And it feels like to me that the VO is starting to become that for Betterman, right? He is whitewashing or spackling over the misogyny, the homophobia, the recklessness, all of that stuff, and just creating this narrative of this hero. So much so that if you just heard the VO, you would have no idea that Betterman is a complete nutbag. But it's only by seeing his actions. And so for me, that's kind of the role that he has started to play. Didn't start like that. I mean, I'm going to be straight up with everybody. It didn't begin that way, but that's kind of how it started to end.
I absolutely agree. It was an evolution, of the voiceover as his own character and having his own perspective. I really do feel like the VO, is somewhat of a worshiper of Betterman, that they are men of a similar age, and that the VO sees the world and what is heroic in a similar way, or at least in that old school John Wayne kind of way,
right,
that we'd talked about for Betterman. And that the funny thing about the VO is he's not like Betterman in that he's not malicious in it. He's just completely ignorant to it. He can't quite figure out, how do you make sense of this? Well, you just don't. You just ignore.
Right. You just don't.
But Ricky, I love this episode and your work on it. And we have constantly challenged you with, all right, let's drop you in this new genre, or let's give you this new challenge. And honestly, again and again, we haven't given you much. I know that in your projects with Mark recently, you guys have talked more and gone back and forth, and it's become collaborative, and the product is more collaborative. But a lot of stuff we've just said, hey man, we're writing in this genre and here's a script, see what you can do. So I guess my question to you is, what genre or style or what type of story have you never had a chance to score that you would love to do someday?
I mean, I've done a lot of different things. I feel like I'm not amazing at one thing. I'm pretty good at a lot of different things. If there's one thing I would say, I feel like I'm pretty diverse. I've never really done a sci-fi thing, which and I'm kind of a synthesizer guy. So, kind of name drop. But if we end up doing the iBiscuit, that's something that was kind of fun that I like doing. But I've always been a horror movie fan, and I've never scored a horror film. Right. And the Wade stuff, particularly the last one, is probably the closest I've ever come to like actually scoring a horror movie. Mm-hmm. And I loved it. I loved putting all that stuff in there, and there was kind of the choir, and then there was the big boomy stuff, and then there was the weird kind of synthy.
Well, one thing you're really good at, if I can say, is that like in episode 4 here that folks just heard, that moment where it's really tense between Heroman and Betterman, you do, and I know you've said like, that whole less is more versus more is less kind of concept. And that moment where Heroman and Betterman are on the precipice of destroying each other, and we don't get to see much, except now Serena, of course, has provided us with visuals, but early on in the first release of it, you don't see anything, but your background sounds just gives so much weight to the moment. It seems to me that you could easily apply that to horrific moments in a horror film or suspense.
Yeah, maybe. No, I appreciate it. Yeah. I mean, I'm a kid of the 80s, so all of that 80s horror stuff, like the John Carpenter and the Even before that, some of like the Goblin stuff, which was Dario Argento, kind of weird rock. You know, someone's dying and you hear this funky disco beat, you know, with a bunch of weird sustain and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a party, like the murder is a party. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, a lot of that stuff, like I remember hearing that cue when I just watched it, and that cue when there's the standoff there.
Yeah.
That's basically the main theme. But I took some instruments out, and then other instruments I like really muddied them up and kind of darkened them a little bit. You know, I've got all these little effects things I can do, and you hear little hints of the Heroman thing, but with all that background, it's kind of weird and nutty. So yeah, I mean, weird music is that's my bread and butter. So, and you know, another name drop, but Mark mentioned it a while ago, is we have talked about maybe trying to do a H.P. Lovecraft thing, which is something I've kind of been playing around with for years, and something may happen there, you know, who knows? But I love doing the music to these episodes because I feel like each one has a lot of different genres. It's kind of like this one. It's kind of I put in a little spy thing in there because they're in the bushes.
Yeah. I love that.
You know, and then another episode, it's the elevator music because they're in the session, you know, and I like doing all those different kinds of genres.
And I remember you sent us an email one time, Ricky, that I think one of us apologized for throwing stuff in your lap. And if I remember right, the email you said, never worry about it because you feel like that our challenges kind of keep you sharp.
Oh, yeah, man.
Throw weird stuff at you. And you're like, well, I got to figure out how to do this.
I love it.
Well, and this is why I love, you know, framing the Adventures of Heroman as a comedy, because of course it's so much more, but comedy as a general title or a genre gives you the ability to be fluid and play. Yeah. And for one moment for it to be a spy flick, and the next moment for there to be real lives at stake, and then to go back to whimsical, and you're real loose and able to do that as well. So I will probably consider the Adventures of Heroman a comedy in my mind, just because it's playful and it doesn't, you know, going to grad school, they talk about, is this literary fiction or is it genre fiction?
Right.
And I'm perfectly fine thinking of it as genre fiction because it plays and it has a little more fun.
Yeah. And to that point, Todd, I kind of wanted to ask you as well, you know, Betterman, he really takes a turn in this one. And in your head, is Betterman just a man out of time, kind of like a Rooster Cogburn who is violent, but that's how the time period was, and now the time period has left him behind? Or is he a straight up Hannibal Lecter who is able to just subsume it and then it just comes out? What were your thoughts playing him?
So for me, you know, whether he's being silly and funny in the early episodes or being truly diabolical in the last one, I think his personality and his motivation is the same. I don't think he's at his core. Well, I don't think he thinks he's evil. I think he thinks that there is of that old John Wayne style. He thinks that there's a white hat and there's a black hat, and I was given a white hat. And it's my job to mash the guy in the black hat as hard as I can. And if I've done that at the end of the day, I can sleep well. And so he doesn't ever question it. And so I think, you know, one of his big weaknesses, obviously, is not being able to look at the situation or look at the people around him and see how he's affecting things or if the world is changing. But he's rigid in this thing, and it worked for a long time. And so he's going to do it to the end. And he thinks it's a form of weakness to stray from that. And so he will never change, or at least in my head, when I was playing him at that time, he will never change. And, you know, just can't see it any other way. And I think, you know, he might be, enjoy torture like we saw in the fourth one. And so I think he gets something out of it. He certainly doesn't get out of it that he'd done the right thing or the just thing, or that he'd, you know, done some honorable thing. I think he was the hero who destroyed the bad guy. Right. And yes, he does happen to get some pleasure out of the pain he puts on them. And so for him, like I said, he sleeps fine every night. He did his job and he enjoyed it. What more is there?
I think he's got a little bit of old man asshole-ish as well. Like he's older and he's kind of an asshole.
Yes.
Too, you know, and
Boy, I empathize
this
with
is
that.
how I did it, you know, this is how you should do it, you know.
Yeah, and if you do anything else, there's something wrong with you, and you're overcomplicating it. You know?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we should wrap for folks. Boy, it's been so fun over these last weeks talking about the Adventures of Heroman, showing off the episodes again in a new format with the beautiful art from Serena, and the music never sounded better to me. I'm gonna give a credit to Mark, so I'm not tooting my own horn. The writing never sounded better to me. But I hope that the three of us can work together for the Adventures of Heroman season 2. We are outlining. So given our work ethic, folks, you should see something in about a year.
Yeah. And if anybody wants to see more of the art, I'll link to Serena Fast's page. She has some other stuff that she's thrown up there. And I'll link to Ricky. I'll link to Rich Hall Music. You can see some of the great stuff that he's doing at Texas State. Go check that stuff out as well.
Nice.
And thanks to everybody who participated as far as voices are concerned, Brooke and David and Leigh and Jim and just everybody who helped out. It really did make this an actual production. We're thankful for that.
All right, guys, for Like Minded Lunatics, we're Mark, Rick, and Todd. We're happy you're with us. Please hit subscribe again. I know I'm always going to be that salesman, but if you feel like a like-minded weirdo along with us, then you're part of the family. So we'll see you, and thanks for another good one.